What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the intern. Today is how does the insane NBA trade deadline affect fantasy? First things first, welcome to Fantasy Basketball Advice Network. Number two, let's talk about this insane NBA trade deadline. I think a shocking one for sure for a lot of people, and a shocking one for me because no one thought that a lot of these trades would happen. And here we are mid-season, and a lot of these trades did indeed happen. We're going to be talking about basically the 4 trades that happened in the past, what is it, like 36 hours from when this video is coming out, around there. And then we're also going to be looking at later on in life the De'Aaron Fox trade, the Luka Doncic trade. We're going to talk about those a little bit later. You'll see a video Monday talking about the Luka trade and what I expect from the future for Luka and everyone that's around with the Lakers. So let's already talk about the 4 trades that we're going to talk about today. That we might see like a part 2. Maybe I do a part 2 in a week that talks about like the smaller trades, like the DeAndre Hunter trade, like I'm trying to think off the top of my head, maybe like Lonzo Ball signing, something like that. We'll talk about that a little later. But let's get started with trade details for Brandon Ingram. So we're gonna go from most shocking to least shocking. Also, I do sound so stuffed because I am sick, but we gotta get the videos out. You already know. So Brandon Ingram, we're going to talk about first. I did not expect Brandon Ingram to be traded to the Raptors. No one in their moms expected Brandon Ingram to be traded to the Raptors. But today we're going to talk about what kind of affects Brandon Ingram fantasy-wise. We're going to talk about 4 key aspects for each single trade. Nothing insane to talk about really about certain things. And then I'll also talk about maybe little other things that I get involved with. For example, I don't really talk about RJ Barrett or Emmanuel quickly. Obviously, they're going to be affected maybe a little bit and maybe a slightly decrease, but we're going to talk about 4 people in general for these kind of videos. So let's start with Brandon Ingram. What do I expect from Brandon Ingram fantasy-wise to be affected? Obviously, going to a team that has some great players, I think could say that this team could be better suited for him than the Pelicans team. Kind of debatable. Is Brandon Ingram the number 1 guy there now? I don't think so. I think he's the number 2 behind Scottie Barnes. I'm going to say this slightly decreases. The thing is that I think, obviously, Emmanuel quickly, RJ Barrett, they're going to be players that are going to want the ball and score the ball. Scottie Barnes is another player that is by far the number 1 player on their team. And I have to say, I think Scottie Barnes with the Brandon Ingram is going to take away his assist numbers. Could take away some defensive numbers. I think you're looking at Brandon Ingram more than likely being the shot creator of the team, which isn't a bad thing. I think that's what he really played as the Pelicans. It's more than likely that he's going to just be more the second star than the number 1 star that he kind of was for the Pelicans, even when Zion was there. So we're going to say slightly decrease. Up next, we have Trey Murphy III. This is an increase by far. He's been balling out with everybody injured. Trey Murphy looks like a superstar by far. And now I think they realize that, hey, Trey Murphy III is an excellent player. Let's sell him. Let's sell on Brandon Ingram to get Trey Murphy III to be a real star for us. And I think that's why the trade happened. Made a lot of sense. Trey Murphy III is going to play more. He's going to be a great asset for a lot of players in the future. And a lot of people that have him in really all their leagues. I mean, dynasty wise, this is going to be a star coming up. Redraft wise, he's probably looking like he's going to get a lot of reps this next upcoming season, or not even upcoming season. Sorry, this right end of the season, and you kind of already knew that. I mean, he's been insane already. So let's talk about Zion Williamson. I think obviously people want to talk about, does Zion Williamson kind of lose some value if Brandon Ingram gains some value? I would say the same. I think Zion Williamson with Brandon Ingram was a interesting combo, and they didn't play as much games as you would hope for them to together. Zion Williamson is probably going to be the exact same Zion Williamson that we have now with Brandon Ingram gone. I think Trey Murphy's going to take a lot of Brandon Ingram spots. Yeah, and I think it's pretty understandable to say that Zion Williamson is more than likely going to just stay the same fantasy-wise. There's not really a big thing. Maybe he gets a little bit more touches, but that's really it, honestly. Up next, we have Scottie Barnes, which, let's talk about Scottie Barnes. I think it stayed the same. Now, this could be questionable because I think, obviously, Scottie Barnes was a mad scorer, scored very well. when no one else is there. I have to say now with Brandon Ingram, does he kind of decrease a little bit with that kind of scoring ability? I think it could open up more for him, if anything. And I think Scottie Barnes' kind of assist numbers are going to also go up a lot. So with that being said, I think maybe he loses a little bit on the point side, but he's going to get his assist numbers up a little bit higher with Brandon Ingram playing next to him. So I really like the kind of fit with them too. Up next, we have the Mark Williams trade. Insane to see Mark Williams be traded after he played so well. It looked like a really good kind of center for the Hornets that they would kind of rebuild around him. Instead, they trade him to the Lakers, which is crazy to say. So let's get started with Mark Williams. This is an increase. If you're the center for Luka Doncic, you are going to be an amazing player. You're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to play very well in the NBA. That's just the simple thing about it. That's honestly the truth. So Mark Williams being able to play with Luka for a long time looks like he's going to be increasing his value. Up next is Luka Doncic. This is going to be a slightly increase. I think Luka is another player that when he has a really good center, and I mean Luka when he went to the Lakers didn't lose any value necessarily, but he did kind of maybe decrease with how LeBron worked with him, so it's going to take a little bit for probably Luka to get back to where he was with the Mavs. I would have to say that with Mark Williams being there and a true good center being there, Luka Doncic is going to thrive in that kind of system. So Luka for me is somebody that's slightly increasing with Mark Williams being here. Let's talk about Dalton Connect. Shocked to see Dalton Connect already moved from the Lakers, but I'm going to say that this is a slightly increase. I think when you're looking at the Hornets, Brandon Miller, different Brandon, out for the season. And then you have LaMelo there. I'm going to be honest. I think Dalton Connect's going to get the green light to shoot as many shots as he wants. I think Dalton Connect is going to become a starter for them. I think Dalton Connect is going to get used heavily by the Hornets. I think that there's a reason why they decided, we'll trade Mark Williams for Dalton Connect because obviously they really liked a Dalton Connect. I'm going to say Dalton Connect is somebody that is going to make some buckets for the Hornets, is going to be able to have a high clip what he's shooting, and Dalton Connect is going to be able to really thrive in the system, especially with LaMelo having a shooter next to him. Up next is Jusuf Nurkic. Now, technically, this is technically a two-part trade because Jusuf Nurkic has gotten traded to the Hornets. I'm going to say an increase. Obviously, Nurkic was barely being played by the Suns. Obviously, there's somewhat of an increase. But being the only center on this Hornets lineup, in Hornets roster, kind of tells me that Jusuf Nurkic is by far going to have a bigger role with the Charlotte Hornets and really going to rebuild himself a little bit. I'm expecting Jusuf Nurkic to really go not back to what he was with the Suns last year, maybe slightly below it, but Jusuf Nurkic is going to get some tons and tons and tons of minutes. Up next, we have the Jimmy Butler trade. First off, with Jimmy Butler, I have to say that it's good to see him now be able to play basketball if you're a Jimmy Butler owner, which I am in my Dynasty League. Jimmy Butler is finally playing, so thank goodness for that. I'm going to say stay the same. I think, honestly, when him, Tyler Herro, and Bam Adebayo all played together, you could tell Jimmy Butler was taking out a little bit of the offensive side. I think with the Warriors, he might get a little bit more offensive side, but really it's going to be stay the same. I expect them to use Jimmy Butler heavily like an all-star. This is going to be really good for Jimmy, and I expect Jimmy to actually be playing and be able to get some good points off of this. Up next is Andrew Wiggins. Crazy to see Andrew Wiggins not be part of the Warriors after that 2022 finals run. Slightly increased for me. I think, they debated on benching him. I think they did bench him, actually. They didn't really play him for some time. To me, this is an obvious increase. I think he's going to get a little more reps with the Heat. And I could see him not becoming his self, like his defensive monster self, but I could see him definitely learning to become a really good third star, like how a Tobias Harris would be for the Sixers or something like that. I could really see Andrew Wiggins becoming a really good third star for the Heat and slightly helping his stock. And he's going to have more touches now being a part of this Heat team. Up next, we have Jonathan Kuminga. Man, oh man, if you're a Kuminga owner, I am sorry. This is a bad thing for Kuminga. I think the Warriors were like, you know what, we're going to keep Kuminga. He's going to be somebody that we're going to kind of use for the future. He's going to be the future of this team. They signed Jimmy Butler. Now what's going to happen with Kuminga? I think My nose is so stuffed up. I hate this. I think with Jonathan Kuminga, I think Jimmy Butler obviously takes a lot away from him for now. It's going to be a long time before we see that Kuminga become that real big star that we expected to see. And now, can you even pay him? And I don't think you can. So that kind of tells me, you know what? Kuminga might be off this Warriors team. And granted, that might be good for a lot of, if he goes to like the Nets, for example. But I can see Kuminga leaving this team, and that's not great if he was originally going to be built around with the Warriors. Up next, we have Tyler Herro. This is a slightly increased Tyler Herro game, more reps. Obviously, he's going to do a little bit better. Offense is going to run through Tyler Herro now, maybe a little bit more Bam Adebayo as well. Pretty good. I expect Tyler Herro to play good basketball now for the Heat. And with our final trade, we have the Kuzma and Middleton trade. What a shock to see these two get switched up. Let's talk about Kyle Kuzma. This is a decrease. I don't think anyone would expect me to say increase or say the same. He goes from a Wizards team that he has a green light to do whatever he wants to a Bucks team that is obviously having Giannis and Dame there. He is going to be the third guy there, maybe fourth, depending on how they see, Brook Lopez, for example. Even by Portis at times. Kyle Kuzma is going to be the third guy that's not going to do as good as he did with the Washington Wizards. Up next, Khris Middleton. Have to say slightly increased. Khris Middleton was having a very big reduced role with the Bucks. He goes to a Wizards team that's going to have a little bit more of a kind of clip to give to him where he's going to be able to shoot more. Now, I'm going to be honest, dynasty-wise, this probably hurts Khris Middleton. I think next upcoming years, you're going to see Khris Middleton try to go to contender or something. I think more than likely the Wizards are not going to keep Khris Middleton for a while. And Khris Middleton right now for the Wizards is going to be able to shoot very, very well. He's going to be able to score very, very well. But truthfully, I don't see him doing amazing till what? I don't even know, because they might prioritize youth over Khris Middleton as well. I'm just saying it's a slight increase because he gets more of a green light. Up next is Bilal Coulibaly. This is a slightly increase. Kyle Kuzma is out of your way. You can fully be the small forward for this team. They were planning to do this by far when they drafted Bilal Coulibaly in 2023. I'm happy to see that they finally decided, you know what, we're going to push all of our chips with Bilal Coulibaly after he got a triple-double. Bilal Coulibaly is going to be a good star and a good 3-and-D wing in this league, and I'm expecting to really see him flourish into a really good star for the Wizards. And last, certainly not least, Giannis and Dame. This is stay the same. Khris Middleton and Kyle Kuzma switching does not change anything for them. If anything, it makes them the exact same. I mean, there's nothing that's going to be insane from that. It's just literally the Bucks finals odds probably didn't even move. They stayed the exact same. It is just not the best for them. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I will see you in the next one, and goodbye.